So Mubarak, I'll just say also, he wears many hats in addition to being a great nonviolence leader, having really helped get the Intifada started in Palestine, which is their big resistance movement. He also, his professional life has been devoted to working with young people, particularly troubled or orphaned young people who need foster homes, and he's started a youth program that still goes around in many states that provides foster care and services for youth. And so he has a number of hats that he wears, but today we'll be focusing on the nonviolence hat. He's also been an adjunct professor at American University for 25 years in the School for International, whatever it's called, School for International Peace and Love and Yogurt, or whatever it's called over there. So, Mubarak, thank you again for joining us, and please solve all the world's problems in the next 25 minutes.
Hear your names from different places, different countries, different areas. It's very unfortunate that we have to use these methods because of the virus that we inflicted not only on us in the United States, but all over the world. And our heart is so much with so many people that especially the elderly like me, because we are more near death than the young ones like you. I want to discuss a lot of things in my life so that I'll give you a little background about myself. I'm a Palestinian, a Christian Palestinian, born and raised in Jerusalem, went to school in Jerusalem, and my father was shot and killed in front of us, and we have to bury him in the house because we have war in 1948. I was 5 years old, and this idea to bury your dad, and having been a person without a dad, is something kept in all my life as a young person. My mother couldn't afford to have us, so we were put in an orphanage. I have 7 brothers and sisters. We all were put in orphanages. And that's created a different aspect of life. And it is not any of our fault that my father was shot and we became a burden on society. Somebody have to feed us. And that really make life a lot of misery for us to be in an orphanage. And but as humans, as young people, as we have to survive. And I survived this thing, and with a lot of ideas that in my mind I have to really study. And one of the things that my mother pushed in my head and the head of my sisters and brothers: don't carry a gun, don't shoot anybody. The one whom you shoot, they don't know that he have a family, he have children, and you could make people orphans. That was her idea, that don't shoot anybody. All right, I was young and didn't matter to me what she said. But during school, they want to teach us how to march with a gun. I completely refused, and I told them my mother told me not to carry a gun. So they let me sit down and have everybody spit on me because I refused to carry a gun. That's my first encounter with resistance of a nonviolence, and didn't bother to me. Even my friends in my class, they start spitting on me. But it was a tough thing, but I said I prefer to listen to my mother than listen to the people who want to teach us how to march or on that. I graduated from school, and my idea was I got scholarship to go to Yale University, as well as a college called Lee College in Cleveland, Tennessee, which is a theology and a very Christian spiritual college where they speak in tongues and hallelujah a lot. And the Lee College gave me not only scholarship, but they gave me monthly allowance money. So with my stupidity, I didn't know the difference between Yale and between Lee College in Cleveland, Tennessee. So I went to Lee College. And for 2 years, I hated every minute of it. And this was in early 60, 61, 62, where Christian college, they treat blacks as animals, as they are not existing, as dirty people. And I was very upset with everybody who teach me in class. How come you worship God and you treat blacks like this? They are human beings. And they told me, well, you are a foreigner, you don't know. So I couldn't stand it. So I have to go back home. And in Jerusalem, then I went and started teaching in a Mennonite school in English in nearby Bethlehem, a town called Beit Jala. And within that idea, it always get me started with the whole idea, what can we do? And why I understand that Palestinians lost their homes. I want to know what's the reason behind it. Why the Arab world didn't help the Palestinians. Why the UN didn't help the Palestinians. Why the whole world didn't help the Palestinians. And I tried to figure it out even when I was young to that point. And so there was a fellow that came to visit the Mennonite school I was teaching there. And he said to me, young fellow, you are smart. And I want to take you to America. I say, I don't like America. I don't like Americans. I don't believe that they are good people. And I told him what the reason. He said, no, those are different. We will take you on scholarship to a Bluffton College in Bluffton, Ohio. And it's a Mennonite school. We are not like that. I told him, no, thank you. I don't want to go to America. But then he came back and he said, I'll give you a car if you come to America. I said, yes, I'll come. So with the car, I came to the United States. I came to Ohio and studied in Bluffton College. And I start reading and knowing more about Gandhi, knowing more about King, knowing more about a lot of people that they were not so much importance to me. And then I went and studied psychology. And I felt very strongly that to study psychology is to help children who are being imprisoned as Palestinian, to help families. And I decided then after my PhD in psychology, educational psychology, to go home. So I went home. I have an American citizenship and I was so proud of it even. Everything changed there. And when I went there back home, I started a Palestinian counseling center. And I tried to teach people to do counseling in schools. And because if somebody came to me and I went to them and say, here is the two university I was picked to go to, then they would counsel me, hey, go to Yale, it's a good university. Lee College, nobody knows where it's at, and you will learn more. And so counseling was an important thing. So I have a graduation of 30 counselors, and we put them in schools. I was able to find funds of them to have them in schools. And it was difficult to have counselor in schools when in that time, the principal thinks that he is the counselor in every school. I find that the Palestinians are not interested in counseling. They are not interested in psychology. They are not interested. They are under occupation. And to be under military occupation is very hectic and it's taking so much of their time, their life, their energy, their political thoughts, as well as their dreams and future thoughts. And I decided, well, I really have to try to figure out what would be the best thing for the Palestinians. And the best thing for the Palestinians, I thought, because they have so much difficulties in dealing with issues. And we talk too much. We blame the Arab world, we blame the European world, we blame the UN, and we have difficulty pointing the finger on ourselves as Palestinians. And we commit ourselves to the armed struggle, that this is the only way that we could solve our problems. And that continue an effort with all the parties, with everybody, that the armed struggle is the best way of dealing with our situation and getting our freedom. And year after year, it gets worse, and we have a revolution after revolution. We pick like we had to be like Castro, or pick like we'll be like the Soviet Union with the revolution there, or like any other places. Then I was thinking, why in the heck we don't use other methods than the armed struggle? Why we don't put ourselves in the idea of Gandhi, or the idea of King, or the idea of other people who came before us, who used nonviolence to deal with every situation of the problem. And so I gave the Palestinian Center direction to someone else to run it, and I opened a center called the Palestinian Center for the Study of Nonviolence. And I have a cousin of mine, his name is Jonathan Kuttab, that he helped me with that. And we start trying to get information about the Arabs and nonviolence, about Islam and nonviolence, about Palestinian and nonviolence, and writing about a history of Palestinians who used nonviolence in their way of struggle. And we were not received well, neither by the Palestinians or the PLO, which is our leadership on that time, or the Israelis, or anybody. And I was thinking of how we could bring this issue of nonviolence to every Palestinian. I started going to school and asked Palestinians not to drink or eat anything which is made in Israel, eat only local product. I was going to villages, telling people that the best way of resisting is to get together, to communicate as a community, to work together in a nonviolent way. And so many times I'll go from one village to another village. I wasn't kicked out because of our culture. You have to be respectful for people who visit. So people will invite me to their homes and I talk about nonviolence. And they said, you are dreaming. That doesn't work. It doesn't work for us. We are not like European. We are not like the British. We are not, when we say about, look how about Gandhi was able to get the British out of India. And Palestinians will say, well, they are, the British are civilized, but here we have people who are not civilized are occupying us, destroying us and everything. So we have all kinds of negative attitude towards nonviolence. So I decided to go to India and find and figure out, have there been anybody who's Muslim that was with Gandhi, or he accepted Gandhi's concept of nonviolence, okay, that we could write about him, because most of the Palestinian and the Arab world are Muslims. And I find a person, his name is Abdul Ghaffar Khan, Khan, and as a Muslim, all his tribe, okay, were nonviolence, and he accepted to be with Gandhi as a Muslim and a nonviolence. I was able to write his book with a friend of mine who is in California. And we wrote the book, A Man to Match His Mountain, translated to Arabic, and tried to tell Muslims that a Muslim religion also have nonviolence in it. But still, it was difficult. It was very difficult. And the thing which changed so much for me is that one time I was in the office and a fellow came very upset, very angry, and he have an older gentleman, and he said, I need nonviolence. And I said, what do you mean you need nonviolence? We gave you, I went to your village, we gave you books, we gave you articles, we gave you things to read and to do. He said, no, no, no. The Israelis came and took my land and they fenced it and they want to make a settlement on it. I want my land back. And I said, wait a minute, you think that I will be able to help you through nonviolence to get your land back? He said, yes, you came and you told us about this crazy idea of nonviolence, that we should not be afraid. We should be commit ourselves to a cause. I went to the PLO, I talked to everybody, I went to court, and nothing is happening. And that's why I came to you. And that minute scared me to death. I never knew that nonviolence is so much powerful that a man could put all his thoughts and effort in it more than me. And I thought a while and I told him, look, if you get the village where you are from, the men, the women, the kids, the youth, and we could go and dig the fence out on condition nobody will run away, nobody will have any stones to throw at the Israeli soldiers or the settlers. And if they want to kill us, let them kill us all. But we have to stand firm in that. And I thought in my heart that if he goes and he will tell his people, that nobody would say yes to it. And I felt I'll be happy that everybody knows so less. Because then I start thinking what it is with me to have people to die for a piece of land. Is that nonviolence? Which is more important, the human or the land? In 3 days, he came and he said, we are ready. And I put it in the Arabic press, I put it in the Israeli press, in the English press, wherever I can. And I said, if we are going to die, at least somebody could take our picture and produce something out of this. And we went, and he brought all the women, he brought the kids, he brought the youth. We start taking the fence down. The army came, the Israeli army came, the settlers came with guns and everything, and we just became so stubborn that we decided we would not leave. Nobody left. Nobody throws stones. And after 2 or 3 hours, then the military governor came. And we talked to him and say, here are the papers, and we are not going to leave. This is our land. And the military governor, after an hour discussion here and there between us, between the settlers, between the military, and he told the people, this is their land. They are fighting for it and they are going to keep it. And you cannot imagine the success in our heart and the feeling of those people in the village that they were able to win over the guns and the attitude of the occupation. And it's an amazing, because then it was written in the paper, it was everywhere that that people were able to take their land through nonviolence means. This was important for me because then we start really getting people coming to us to the center, and they said, oh, the Israeli took our olive trees and we have to replant the olive trees. And I said, okay, we can ask the Israelis to come with us to plant olive trees. We could ask international groups to come with us. We could ask peace groups. We could ask everybody to come but on the condition that when they come, and if it's lunchtime, you have as a Palestinian to sit and eat with an Israeli. And you have to cook for the Israeli because they come to see you and plant with you. And we have hundreds of people then will go and plant olive trees. Even then the Israeli government or the military and the natural preserve people, they'll come and uproot the trees, but we would do those things, and everybody in numbers, we were able to do it. We were able to go to the shopkeepers in many places when they are closed and say, don't worry, even if they put a fence around your shops, we will bring people. And I go to Nazareth, where is the Arab population, and Haifa, and other places inside Israel, and go to Nablus, north of Jerusalem, big cities, and Akka, and all those people, and bring people to come and shop in those shops. And we will have a kind of, if you want to go and buy something from them, you get a paper, and we could put your name if you win in a lottery, and you'll get a refrigerator, you could get a TV. And it was all the people, we bring them together, that the commercial people was helping us to give those people who come and shop. So the Israeli, they found out that because they closed that area and no cars could come and only could shop by foot, the shopkeepers have more business. Then they took the fences down. So it's like what we do with an action, which is an important action. And the Israelis start feeling upset and angry. And I say, why they are getting upset and angry? Because we are using nonviolence. And it was an amazing thing. So I decided one time to do a town meeting. And it was in Jerusalem, and we did it for the purpose of telling the people within the Jerusalem area how to get rid of occupation. And I thought we will have 30, 40 people, but there more than 500 people came to the YWCA in Jerusalem. And when I came over there, there were cars, and I saw there is a wedding or something going on over there, and it was waiting for me to come to tell the Palestinian how to get rid of occupation. And my first words was a tough word. I say, we are, as Palestinians, we are under occupation because we choose to be under occupation. If we decided not to have occupation and we could resist on a daily basis, there's no power can stop us. And oh boy, that what you mean by this, what you mean by that. So the PLO came against me, the Israeli against me. The next day I came to the YWCA to continue the workshop there with the town meeting. I have tanks over there, and they said you cannot go in. And the head of the YWCA, she told me, please Mubarak, you cannot come in, because if you come in, they close the YMCA. So I went to Ramallah and took buses to take all those people there and continue doing it. Then they went to Ramallah and they said, if you are in school, and we'll close all the schools because of you. And that made me think, why the Israeli? I am not from a big family in Jerusalem or a Palestinian family. I'm an individual who believe in nonviolence. Why they took it on their own that they will oppose me that much? And every time they start, if I will go and see somebody in Ramallah, after I see him, they will arrest him. And if I'll be walking someplace, they will arrest me. So I was arrested around 40 times. I was tortured. They want to know who in the world is telling you what to do. And one fellow said, the PLO. I said, I wish the PLO will tell me to use nonviolence, but it wasn't the PLO. And it was me. I have a feeling that this is the best way to get rid of you as Israeli occupiers without hurting you. We don't want to beat you. We want our freedom. We want justice. We want our land. We want to be individual like the rest of the world, not to be under occupation. They will arrest me and they will put me in jail. And I was so happy to be in jail many times, because then I have a lot of people over there who have nothing to do in jail. So I become and stand and speak about with everybody about nonviolence, how we do it, how we organize, what it is, how Gandhi did that in India, how it's in South Africa, how everybody is doing it. And that is an important aspect of us to accept that. And then suddenly, the Israeli find out that it was a pleasure for me to be in prison, so they put me in isolation whenever they arrest me. And the Israeli tried to find out how they could get rid of me. And I thought, as an American citizen, I came with an American citizen back, that I am protected, but I was not protected at all, even as an American citizen. And my voice was heard so much in the White House and so much in the Senate, and people, senators and people in the State Department, and people start coming to the office. They want to hear what I'm doing, what I'm saying. And that helps a lot, because other international organizations start calling and start saying, how could we help? How we could do things to make your life easier rather than miserable. I say, no, I don't want anybody. I really don't want you. I'm doing it because I believe in it. This is what I believe, that we can liberate ourselves through nonviolent means. And I believe very strongly that till now, the only way that the Palestinians could get their justice and freedom is through nonviolence. So what I did, I started doing lectures within the Palestinian society. And those lectures also, we start doing some leaflets. I don't know if you understand what I mean by leaflets. It's a newsletter, but the newsletter cannot be sent through fax or through email. We don't have those luxury at that time, but we'll bring people to our office, and we have young people who could memorize 5 or 6 of the actions that they have to do, and they go back to Bethlehem, to Hebron, to Nablus, to Jerusalem, to areas, and then they over there, they will write it back and they will make stencil of it. That means copies on it, and start distributing it. And we did that, and a lot of Palestinians start doing small things, little things at a time. And everybody became very much involved in it, to the point that the Israeli want to know how those leaflets are getting through when the soldiers search everybody who's leaving Jerusalem, who's trying to find where that came from. And I was arrested around 4 times because of those leaflets. Because when you read those leaflets, a lot of people say, those are the ones you were preaching about, you were talking about how you get rid of occupation through nonviolence means. And I did also a lot of books for Gene Sharp, a fellow who wrote about nonviolence. I was very much interested in doing his books or translating some part of his books. And we have a problem. I have a problem with Gene Sharp. After he saw the translation, he called me himself. He said, this is the most violent thing you did. I said, what? He said, you pick whatever you want and you just printed it and translated it to Arabic. You didn't ask permission from me. You didn't ask anything from me. And why you do such a thing? I say, you could sue me, whatever you want to do. This is how I think of nonviolence. He said, no. Nonviolence means that you have to respect others' respect others' writing, respect other people. And he taught me a very big lesson. And then we became very, very close friends, even to the day he died. And he put all the institute, that Einstein Institute in the Nonviolence International. So in '88, the Israeli find a way that they can kick me out, and they said, well, you went to United States and you became an American citizen. That means you cannot be a citizen of Israel. And you are not allowed to be, we would not allow you to continue being here, so we have to deport you. And then I was in the high court, and they have to deport me. They brought 6 people from the Shin Bet, which is like a CIA or security people who don't know what the CIA is. And they said, well, Dr. Awad, you did this, you did that, you did that. I said, yes, I did all these things. I want my people to be free. I want to have justice. Say, you agree that you did this? I said, yes, but I did more. And in the Supreme Court, I told them what more things I did, that the things they are reporting, they are missing things. And he said, then we have to send you out of this country or put you in prison forever. I say, you could do whatever you want. I am not going to stop doing that. And then on '88, I was deported. And after my deportation, I felt strongly that this idea of nonviolence have to continue. So we opened the center in Washington, D.C. First, I have it in my house, Nonviolence International, in the basement. And it's called Nonviolence International. And we start doing what I was doing with the Palestinian in all the world, anybody who wants information about nonviolence, how we have training, how we will have everything. And it was slowly, it went through a well-versed thing about nonviolence. Then Michael Beard, I think father or uncle or somebody came, and we were talking together, and they said, I have a very nice fellow, his name is Michael. He is a nephew or whatever of mine, and he will work well in what you are doing because he talks the same language you talk. And I said, we will welcome him. And he came, and he's still with us, Michael. And that became an effort that we continue. And we have interns, we have people from around the world to work with us. And it's the same thing. The hardest thing it was, and still is, why people are willing to support war and support killing, support guns, rather than supporting nonviolence. So we, in the nonviolence community, we always are poor, we don't have money, we are struggling financially in everywhere, but we continue doing it because this is our belief, this is our sense of duty, that people can communicate with each other in a kind way, in a nice way, and disagree with each other because of their religion, of their race, of anything, but still to trust that we can live together as people in one community. And that's an important thing of nonviolence. Then Jonathan Kuttab, who have been working on human rights, he was pushing us that human rights and nonviolence is equal to each other. People who have reached to a point that their rights as humans have been deprived, you need to help them to use nonviolent method to reach their rights. So we became one group that working together with human rights and nonviolence, and that becomes an important aspect. I purposely didn't make it a religious thing, yet even my brother, Alex, he's a minister, and my other brother, Bishara, he have Bethlehem Bible College, but I didn't make it any religious. I purposely make nonviolence as no religion at all. You could be whoever you want in your religion, and be nonviolent. So it's not a religious aspect of nonviolence. And we didn't make it as a creed, as a cult. Nonviolence is not a cult. It's an attitude that people have to, you have it or you don't have it, but you have the choice to be nonviolent or not. And in one occasion, and I'll stop after that because of time, in one occasion, I invited Gene Sharp to come and talk to us as Palestinians. And I really was challenging him to a point that he wanted to talk to the Palestinian young. And everybody who came to the room, he have his guns and his all those things around him with all weapons. And I told him, you can have the weapons, but please put it aside. You don't need to carry it. And Gene Sharp is a fellow who is, and Gene, he said, what's all this? I said, hey, those are the people that we have to talk to. They are the ones who believe in an armed struggle and try to convince them to be in a nonviolent way. And he gave the best ever I heard him to tell those people that you as young people, you have a vision of you want to be victory in liberating yourself and your people and getting rid of occupation. This strength is so important, but how about using it in this way, in a different way? And if you use it in a different way, it's more powerful because then you are not afraid of the Israeli gun. You carry a gun because the Israeli carry a gun. So if you take the gun away and you confront the Israeli without a gun, this is the best way of nonviolence. And out of that group, 2 of them came to the center and they became working with us on nonviolence. So a lot of things happening there. I don't have a lot of time to go through a lot of things, but I am married and I have 2 kids. They were in every demonstration I have. And the Israeli tried to play games with them, to visit me, or when they travel, they said, I am dead, I'm not organized there. We have other Israelis, they have Kaufman in the streets of Jerusalem with my name on it. I have Knesset members. He wants to have a resolution in the Knesset that I should be shot and killed. And I'm very, unfortunately, my attitude, then I went to the Knesset and knocked at his door and I told him, how come you want to shoot me and kill me, but we never met, I'd like to meet with you. And he collapsed, and then the Israeli police came and arrested me, how I went into the Knesset and scared the heck of another Knesset member. So we went also to the people who have the army, the Israeli army camp. I stay outside the camp or sometimes I sneak in the camp. I say, don't use guns against us. Let's work together and I will be arrested. So I was a fellow who strongly believed in something, and I have no fear of that. I have no fear because I'm very satisfied in what I was doing, and it's helpful for the Palestinian and helpful for others to see that we can get ourselves together and be more human in a difficult situation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mubarak. We now have the floor for questions and answers. This is being recorded, and if you don't wish to be recorded, please let us know and we can turn off the video. But this is a remarkable presentation from him, and I think your questions will also be very helpful for others to hear. So we have some time for questions.
Well, first of all, thank you for your story. It was very moving and very interesting. I was wondering, how was the role of your family when you were in Israel, and how was basically the role of your family when you were spreading the thought and the idea of nonviolence? Whether they have helped you to do anything about it, and also what was their reaction when you were in jail and when you were detained, and when you had a hard time in Israel as well. Thank you.
The thing was very tearing for me is that one of my nieces, now she's in New York, it was on my birthday and I'm not allowed to touch anybody. And she came with a gift. And the only thing that I put my finger in the fence and she put her finger in the fence and we each other on the fence like that. And she said that I love you, uncle. You are doing good, even if you are in prison. I have my brother who is a minister. He have a hard time with me because I always ask him to come in the demonstration. And he said, if I come, I have to pray. I said, no prayer. He said, why? I said, I don't want to make it a religious rally. It's come, just demonstrate with us. I have a brother who is from the Bethlehem Bible College. I mean, he has so much difficulty. One of my brother, he was not allowed to come to Israel because of me when he left. And they said, why we should allow you in Israel? Look at your brother, what he is doing. And the brother in Bethlehem, which is the Bible College, so many times they break into the college, they burn the cars of the Bethlehem Bible College because of me. So I have a distance from them, yet they didn't have a distance from me. So I was able many times to have Hamas to come to the Bible College over there where I speak to them. And really, they said, we will do that, but don't expect the teachers and the students to listen to you. I say, so I wasn't pushing under the Christian concept. My children were in a school that really have a very, very nice teachers. And they will tell the class that I am in jail, I am in prison, not because I'm a thief or I did something wrong. And they will tell the students why I'm doing this. So they all were proud of me, even my children when they were young, very proud. And that I'm not a thief or somebody who are in jail or in prison for that. The thing which affected me most is how many Israelis also that they came to support our center in Jerusalem. They came in to lectures, they came to talk to us, they came to say, could we do things together? And we were able to do things together. So it always gave me a lift. And I'll give you one situation. There is a fellow by the name of Eddie Kaufman, who some of you might know because of his writing about himself. He's very much of a Zionist. And he is a professor at Hebrew University in Jerusalem. And I went on a hunger strike because he invited me to speak at the Hebrew University. I was the first Palestinian to speak there. And I spoke, as I told you, about what I said, that we need justice, we need peace, we need everything for the Palestinians. And when I was arrested, I went on a hunger strike. He himself, as a professor, came on a hunger strike outside the jail. And my attorney came to me and he said, which is Jonathan, my attorney, that there's a fellow, his name is Eddie Kaufman. He is now 12 days on a hunger strike. You are fat. You could be able to do it. He's skinny and you might hurt him physically. So please stop your hunger strike. I was so upset. Why an Israeli Zionist go on a hunger strike for me? And then when I learned also that a lot of taxi drivers, a lot of Israelis, they start spitting at him, they start throwing garbage at him. He had to bring his two sons, and they were in the military, and one was a pilot in the military, to stand beside him so that a lot of Israel would not throw garbage on him. So those things will make you think more and more of the situation. And many times also, I have to tell you that I stopped some of the things on my activity. One activity that really I thought it's a great activity is I asked a lot of Palestinians, especially people from the refugee camps, and we will have transportation for them to go and have a rose in their hand to knock at the door where their parents were, their houses, and say, could you put that rose because that's my parents' house. And that was so much dangerous that the people in psychology department in the university called me, say, Mubarak, please stop doing that. We have very big problem in doing that. People are getting scared that it's a rose, but people know that their houses, they know where to go, and we're afraid that after the rose, they will come at night and kill everybody. So I stopped that because of the reaction that people start being afraid and scared of that. So you have really to think very carefully in doing some activities and to see if it's worthwhile. If it hurts so much, don't do it. We are not there in nonviolent to hurt anybody. We are trying to help. And thank you for the question.
Mubarak, you were very creative with your tactics, and you were in part inspired by Dr. Gene Sharp, who came up with 198 tactics of nonviolence. You've inspired us at Nonviolence International to collect the largest database in the world on nonviolent tactics, and we're up to 346 so far. And we've just, we're producing a book about all these new tactics. Talk to us about why different kinds of tactics and not just doing the same thing over and over again is valuable for you in Palestine. And can you give us one or two more examples of creative tactics that you used?
I think I learned a lot from Gene Sharp. And his idea that after he wrote his book, he never added any one single, method. And that's why we push Nonviolence International, and I thank you for doing that, that we have a new system in the world. We have the internet, we have the website, we have everything, and we could add it more to help others. I think many times, and if you read methods of nonviolence, it's like you go to a restaurant, okay? And when you go to a restaurant that is open, that you could eat everything there and you pick what you want to eat, it's your choice, okay? And that's what we want the people to think of a choice. We will not recommend any one method. They have to recommend it, they have to see it, they have to work with it on a local level. That's an important thing. And I'll give you one or two methods of that, okay? We have the Israelis on one time, they decided to release prisoners, okay? But for anybody who was in prison, they closed their homes. They welded their homes. They put blocks about their homes. But then they released the prisoners, okay? And we went to the Israeli authority, we went to the police, said, you release the prisoners, but their homes are closed. How they'll go to their homes? Okay, so what we did in nonviolence at that time, we took torches, we took hammers, and we start going and opening the homes without permission from the Israelis. And we opened all the homes that were closed. And the Israelis arrested me and they said, you have no permit to open the homes. I said, you are the one who released them. And I went to court and we fought that in the court, and I won in court. And the judge said, we are with you on that. but don't do anything else, you know, on that. But I wasn't afraid, okay, to go to court, to the Israeli court, which is against the Palestinian concept. I wasn't afraid to go to the police and ask permission, okay, for a permit. And I'll give you another situation which is funny, that the military people in Jericho, they start capturing the donkeys, the camels, and all the sheep and goats, and they took all that from the Bedouins over there. And they say those Bedouins, they have in a land which is only used for the military, and they should not go there. So they took all that. So what I decided, I went to the military as well as to the police in Jerusalem, and I asked a permit to have a march of animals in the street. And I put it in a newspaper. I have a lot of support from everybody. And a lot of Israelis start writing to the military and to the police, hey, release those animals. Those are not Palestinian, they're animals. You know, they were caring about animals more than Palestinians. And then after 3-4 days, really, the head of the police came and said, please, Mubarak, please, 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 don't do that. And I stopped, I didn't do it. When everything was ready, I have camels, I have goats, I have sheep that will go on the streets of Jerusalem. And I told also the shopkeepers, don't have anything that those animals could eat. So it's funny on that, but that's what we did. And you have to take nonviolence not as serious as possible. It's a joke. It's a fun. Make jokes, make people laugh, you know? Yes.
My name is Makluk, as I told. First of all, sir, I'm really impressed by listening to you are a man or a personality who has learned the non-violence by sacrificing your life and from the real life or the reality, not from the book or anything. Sir, I strongly believe and feel from my experience traveling all over the conflict region in Africa, in Caribbean, under the United Nations banners. I travel many places on the world, and I belong to a place in close to India. You talked about the Mahatma Gandhi and Abdul Ghaffar Khan. These are all awesome personality and who all have been believing in the non-violent. I strongly believe in one thing, sir, that I would like to share with you on how it can be done. That all the places, if you go, India, Pakistan's Hindu-Muslim fightings with religions, believe some things. In the Middle East, where people, Palestinians, Israeli, they are also fighting, and at the back of them, some religious message they're carrying. But if you talk about the religions all over the world, if you talk about the Buddhisms, if you talk about the Muslims, if you talk about the Judaism, if you talk about the Christianity, there is a message of the humanity. People are not picking up that one. Rather, they are ignoring that things, they're taking the other things. So as a follower of you, as a follower of the non-violent methodology, how it can be done, what I strongly believe, that taking all the messages of the humanity from different religions, whether from Islam's, Muslims, Judaisms, and everything, which, because at the end, all the religion speaks about the good things. There are some good things there for the humanity, for the well-being of the people of the world. Can we collect all those messages and together and say to the people like Hindu, Muslims fightings, all other fightings, each others on the back of the religion masses, say, hey, this is not the things all the religions talk about. Like the coronavirus has given us a very good message that we need, people of the world need each others. It's not the religions, it's the human being that need to help each others. So what do you think, sir, that some sort of message, how it can be disseminated by adopting the non-violent methodology? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I came from a very, very religious family, especially my mother. I am an Orthodox Christian. And, but in my study of nonviolence and study of religion, I find it difficult as a person that when the United States want to drop the atom bomb, they brought somebody to pray on it. They are going to destroy many, and here is somebody who's a Christian praying on the bomb. You know, this, in my church, the Orthodox Church, so many times when there's something happen, they go with the dictator. The Christian community, the leadership go with the dictator. And in many places, the religious groups, rather than opposing war and opposing the military occupation of things and stopping the war, they go to protect their churches or their religion just to be everywhere. Very sad to tell you, in Saudi Arabia, there is a contract with the religious people. We do our politics and you do your religion, don't interfere with us. You know, all those things. And I think religion have to step over politics, not religion will dictate what politics dictate religion. And it's very unfortunately, this is what we have. War and weapons are also important for many, many people, especially in governments where they make billions and millions of dollars to trade weapons. And this is a fight that we have to continue fighting that and to stop that and to stop the idea that you are making profit to kill people. You know, all those things have to do with religion. I wouldn't dare to go to church if I want to sell weapons to an army or weapons to a revolutionary group to kill people. You know, it have for me to decide what's my religion. I'm not taking religion as a surface thing, but in the depth that as a humanity, we should not kill each other.
So Mubarak, is there an instance in your early days when you were in prison where people you talked to about nonviolence would tell you later on, like just out of nowhere, saying that, you know, hey, you know, you had a point what you were saying, and, you know, in a way, like, you know, changing their minds, like during your time in earlier times in prisons before they put you in solitary?
I have many people, but many also groups that they will tell me, you know, the Israelis attacking Gaza, where is your nonviolence? What you are doing about it? Well, you know, I do not have the methods of thinking of what I do during a war or during an attack on Gaza. Say, so what's your nonviolence? It doesn't work then. Don't tell us about nonviolence. So I have that many times in that. And you cannot have a nonviolence group while the guns are shooting at each other. You know, it's I call it stupidity if you want to go between them. You know, it's not that. I have others. They said, and I was criticized a lot with Palestinians and with Israelis and with others who believe in nonviolence, that I will tell people, you have the guns, can you put them aside only one time, 2 times, and use methods of nonviolence? And if it doesn't work, go back to your guns, okay? We are not taking the guns away from you. You have your guns. But try to use nonviolence method in case, and to see if they are working better than guns. I have people who put their guns back, and I have people who said, no way, we'll never put our guns back. Then after 10 years or 15 years, they say, we hope that we could listen to you, okay? But that's, you see, the beauty of nonviolence is a choice, okay? your brother is killed, your father is killed, your mother was raped, your sister was raped, then it's up to you how you want to do the action here. Sometimes people cannot use the methods of nonviolence. They are not able or capable of doing it. Yet we want them to do it, but they are not able. Then it's easy for them to use a gun and go and shoot them others or shoot themselves, you know? And that's their choice. And what we have to do is educate people and to tell them the importance of life, the importance of an individual, the importance of dealing with each other. And it doesn't work all the time. It does not work all the time. But our hope in nonviolence, that we have a lot of people around the world believe that peace through nonviolence becomes important.
You, and all of us are experiencing the impacts of the COVID-19 virus. And what do you think is a nonviolent response and message and opportunity here during this crisis that we are experiencing as humanity?
I think our main concern will be is you have to get yourself away from the streets and put yourself in your own home, that it would not affect others. The second part, look in your community, see if anybody is needed something, food or to go to the doctor. And you know, you have to have that as a person who believe in nonviolence, believe in a community and building a community. And the third one, don't listen to Trump. He is lying from his thing, and we have difficulty following him. And listen to those scientists or those people who really is telling us what to do. And let him talk, but listen to the scientists. It's very, very important. And this thing will go away, but also it's going to change us a lot. It makes us more of a community. It's not a Chinese virus. It's an international virus, okay? And the people are getting all together. We are becoming as a group of international that anything could affect us, affect everybody, okay? So that brought us together. It's not only for Blacks or for Christian or Muslim or Hindu or anything. It affects everybody. And we have to start feeling not only for ourselves also, but if we have some solution, and in some places they don't have solution, we have to give them that free or try to help others in countries. This haven't been happening that much, and we should push on that to happen. Especially now we have 2 cases in Gaza of the virus, and if Gaza get it, probably hundreds and hundreds of people would die. So we are pushing to say to people, give them the thing they need so that they could stop it before it becomes a problem.
So Mubarak, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned in your story this bit about wanting to bring together Israelis and Palestinians when they were planting the olive trees. I was wondering how that idea of trying to bring together 2 sides on different opposites together, and how if they welcomed it or if they were resistant to it, because I know it's a political issue, but people, maybe they react differently, maybe they're warmer to each other.
Okay, let me tell you the Palestinian resistance of that. It's planting trees will take the whole day, okay? And people will start early morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we leave at 4, 5 o'clock at night, you know, in the afternoon. And people have to eat. So I went to the Palestinians and I said, look, the Israelis are coming and we have to cook for them. Have ready food or sandwiches for them. Boy, I have difficulty that Palestinians want to have sandwiches for them. I went to the Israelis and I said, don't bring any sandwiches, because the Palestinians are providing sandwiches for you, and we have to sit together and eat together. And some of them said, no, no, we don't trust the Palestinian food. They might poison us. So there is problems which surround, which people think of it, which is no problems at all, but we solve those problems, okay? And when they sat together, they ate together, okay? Then they start visiting each other after many months after the program of planting trees, both Palestinian and Israeli. So we break this concept of hatred, concept of suspicion, concept that you don't like us, we don't like you. That was an important aspect there. Another thing on that, while we were planting trees, the Israeli soldiers, they were very harsh and difficult with Israelis. And they get one Israelis and they said, give me your ID card. And the Israeli, with calm, he said, you give me your card. And they both changed card. He was a major in the Israeli army, planting trees with us. And that fellow apologized, said, don't apologize. This, I feel strongly that we shouldn't take their land and we should plant trees. Nobody should cut trees. That's why I came, my wife and children came with me. And I might not agree with his politics, but at that moment, at that period, he is feeling that what we are doing is right. And who I am to tell him, no, don't come because you are a major. So those things happen. And it happened a lot. When I was in prison, I'm a vegetarian, you know, and a lot of people, they bring me like cucumber or eggplant or cauliflower, and they dig the cauliflower and put meat in it. They thought the Israelis are punishing me, not putting meat in my food. And I said, no, don't do that. You see, so there are a lot of people, they are nice. Everywhere there are nice people. And you have to take this and you have to take that and it's all right. And I feel the time have to come for the Israelis and for the Palestinians to see each other as human beings, not as enemies. And we could overcome all those difficulties.
Thank you, Mubarak, so much for your inspiration. Thank you all for coming and joining the Nonviolence International team. Mubarak has been in hopes for 30 years now that we will take nonviolence around the world. And if you are inspired by his message and the message of other great and ordinary people in the world who are engaging in nonviolence, we're counting on you as the younger generation to take this forward, to call on our common humanity and help save the planet from nuclear holocaust, from climate change, from the great disparities and injustices, and from the dictators. And we're counting on you to help take this organization to a place where we need a thriving, powerful network of Nonviolence International and affiliates all over the world. And we're just very grateful that you're with us today, all of you. Next week, at the same time, we have Sami Awad, who will be talking to us from Bethlehem. He's also an inspirational nonviolence leader. And we invite you to join us next week at the same time for another talk of this kind. With that, we'd like to ask you to please fill out our concluding evaluation poll. We always want to improve our work, and we will have a poll up before you sign off, presumably, to help us get feedback on how to do this better. And good luck for the New York team, which I understand has a meeting in about 7 minutes. So we'll stop so you can take a quick break. So
all right, you. Joshua.
Thank you so much, you guys. That was incredible. Thank you, Mubarak.
Thank you, Joshua.
And David, thank you for hosting. And do you have a poll for us?
Okay, there it is. Attendees are now viewing. And they only allowed closed-ended questions, but of course we'd like additional feedback if you have thoughts on, thank you, I gave you a high rating, but here's something we'd like more of, or how we can improve the next series. Please do email us, team@nonviolenceinternational.net.
Thank you. Thank you again, all. We'll see, hopefully, many of you next week.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.